Welcome into the lounge. I'm Ryan Mink here with Garrett Downing, and we have the Ravens 2026 schedule. So we're going to break it all down for you here, give you our top takeaways from this schedule, as well as, of course, the highly anticipated travel draft.
Yes.
So, Garrett, why don't you go ahead and kick it off and give the fans, the listeners out there, and the viewers the schedule.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you're a viewer, we're going to put it up here on the screen for you. And as a listener, I'll run through the full rundown here. Let's kick it off. The Ravens open the 2026 season. The Jesse Minter era opens in Indianapolis. The Ravens are on the road to face the Colts in week 1. Then they come home for a Sunday 1 o'clock game against the New Orleans Saints. Then they go out to Rio. We already knew this one. They played the Dallas Cowboys in Rio week 3, 425. Then it's back home to Baltimore, 1 o'clock game against the Tennessee Titans. No bye after the Rio trip, so they're coming home. Get right back at it in a week 4 game against the Titans. Then they go on the road in week 5 and play at Atlanta for Sunday night football, 8:20 game. Then they're on the road again in Cleveland for a 1 o'clock game against the Browns. Then they're back home against Cincinnati, 1 o'clock game. Then they go on the road to Buffalo, 1 o'clock game against the Bills. After the Buffalo game, they come back to Baltimore, play Jacksonville for a Thursday night football game, primetime game, 8:15 against the Jaguars. Then it's another home primetime game, back-to-back night games at the Bank, Jacksonville, then against the Chargers. Chargers is Monday night football. Then it's 2 straight on the road. They go and play Carolina, 1 o'clock, followed up by a game on the road against Houston at 1 o'clock. Then it's the bye week 13 bye, late bye for this team. After the bye, it's week 14. They play Tampa Bay here in Baltimore, 1 o'clock game. Then they go on the road to face the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 1 o'clock game. Then they come back home to face the Browns, 1 o'clock game there. Then the last 2 games of the regular season, New Year's Eve at Cincinnati, 8:15 game. That's a Thursday night football game in Cincinnati, primetime game. And then week 18, date and time to be determined. But the Ravens are going to play the Steelers once again in the final game of the regular season. So there you have it. That's your 2026 schedule for the Baltimore Ravens. So I ran through the schedule. Mink, when you saw it for the first time, what was the first thing that jumped out to you?
The start of the season is what jumped out, and certainly with Jesse Minter's tenure beginning here in Baltimore, it was going to be interesting to see what did the beginning of it look like. Are the Ravens set up for a really fast start or what? And you know, what jumps out is the Ravens don't face a playoff team from last year, a team that went to last year's playoffs, until November. And that's when they go to Buffalo. First 7 weeks at Indy, New Orleans, Dallas, Tennessee, Falcons, Browns, Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati very well is going to be probably in the playoff picture, and more of those teams might be.
Yeah.
But certainly when you're looking at what they were last year, that jumps out, not facing a playoff team until November.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, you kind of look at the schedule in sections, and I would think on paper, to your point, there's the opportunity there for the Ravens to come out to a strong start.
Yeah.
Which I think is really valuable with a new head coach. You have Jesse Minter, this new coaching staff, new era, all that stuff. And to come out and start the season strong would be huge for this team. I think probably all 32 teams say that, but when you're dealing with a new head coach and a team that honestly the last 2 years hasn't started the season the way that they should have and needed to, and it's put them in a hole that they've had trouble climbing out of.
Yeah.
But especially last year.
This schedule's in stark contrast to the past 2 years where the Ravens came out and it was murderer's row out of the gate. And so this is very different. I think it allows a team under a first-year head coach to kind of get its legs a little bit and hopefully get off to that strong start. And so that would just be really good for the beginning of the Jesse Minter era. And I think kind of there's a lot of good vibes right now in Baltimore. Players, fans, everybody's excited about this new era of football with Coach Minter. And I think it's an opportunity to just kind of keep that momentum rolling into the season.
Well, you look at the first 6, again, at Indianapolis, home against the Saints, then Cowboys in Rio, home against the Titans, at Atlanta, then at Cleveland. You look at that 6-game stretch there, and I think you're like, could the Ravens go 6-0? Could they go 5? Is 5-0? What's the floor there?
Right.
And like, again, we're just playing this out on paper and based on what we expect the Ravens to be and what we expect these other teams to be. Nothing's guaranteed, but I think that you look at it and you're like, could you start the season 6-0? Right. Could you start the season 5-1?
Absolutely possible.
I think it's very feasible.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then this team, I think there could be a snowball effect if you're able to start the season that strong. One little scheduling note that I want to point out here, there was some speculation coming into the schedule getting dropped tonight about whether the Ravens would open with 3 straight road games and have their home opener in week 4. Obviously, that's not the case. Their home opener is going to be week 2 against the Saints. The speculation for that was because the Orioles have a week 2 home game. They're playing the Brewers, have a home series, but they're playing on September 20th. It's a night game. It's a 7:20 game for them. So Ravens will play at 1 o'clock. It'll be a busy day in that whole complex there.
Clearing out the parking lots quick after the Ravens game. I can tell you that
it'll
much.
be a busy, whole busy weekend there, Sunday there with the Ravens playing at 1 and then the Orioles playing that night.
Yep. Yeah, fans should get tickets to
both.
The
double dip.
Double header.
That'd be pretty exciting to get both games. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that stands out, and certainly like you said, you look at kind of stretches, and it's the ending of this schedule. 4 straight AFC North games to close out the season. Really, the division's going to be decided in late December into early January because, it's going to get really tough down that stretch. Last year, the Ravens certainly had an AFC North heavy schedule down the stretch, but not 4 straight. And so you go at Pittsburgh, Cleveland at home, at Cincinnati, and then end with the Steelers again. So I think it's certainly possible that we're not going to know the winner of the AFC North until late in the year.
Oh, look, we didn't know the winner of the AFC North until the final second of the season last year.
That's nothing new.
Honestly, do I like it? Do I not like it? I think you could go either way on that. Last year, I thought it served the Ravens well because they started the season poorly. And you just felt like we have this mountain to climb, but every game was still in front of them in the division. If you start the season strong, like we're talking about potentially could happen, then you wish you had a little bit of a gap in the division. Of course, you don't know what the other teams in the division are going to do. It's like all conjecture here. But knowing that there's this steady dose of AFC North teams on the back half of the schedule, including 4 straight to close out the season, it makes everything feel unsettled going into the final week.
Well, I like it. Kind of to the point that we were talking about earlier with the Jesse Minter team kind of establishing itself, new coaching staff, new schemes. Like you have time to kind of build up your strength, right? And establish yourselves and then keep that momentum rolling and get stronger as the season goes along and really hopefully be peaking here in December and really kind of everybody knows the system. Everybody's very comfortable offense and defense with new systems in place. And the hope is that you're at your strongest here going down the stretch when you're in the AFC North.
I kind of look at it through 2 lenses. One is like, what's the best situation for the Ravens? And you want the team to be in a great situation to win as many games as possible. The other is like, what is the best situation just as a football fan? And like as a football fan, knowing you have these 4 straight AFC North games late in the season with the Ravens are playing, like that's exciting. That means there's going to be awesome football in December in this division. And like, that's just perfectly suited for what you want AFC North football to be. It's going to be cold. It's going to be physical. You're going to have Derrick Henry, covered in mud, running through defenses. Like that's just like the kind of visual that you think about when you think of AFC North football and just tough, hard-nosed, cold weather. And I like that aspect of being able to have those games late in the year.
Yep. The game that I have circled on this schedule has to be New Year's Eve at Cincinnati. Thursday night football, 8:15 p.m. I mean, it's the second to last game of the season. That is the game. I think that the Ravens and the Bengals are probably those are my 2 leaders for the AFC North crown as I sit here today. And that game could certainly decide the division. Joe Burrow's been complaining that Cincinnati hasn't hosted a primetime game against the Ravens. He got his wish. Trey Hendrickson goes back to Cincinnati on primetime to play against his former team. To me, game of the year. That's the game of the year. Ravens at Cincy, week 17.
Game of the year just for the Ravens or you think that could be for the league?
No, I mean, I think it could be for the league.
Yeah.
That's going to be you remember these Ravens-Bengals games? Now, last year was a little bit wonky. They weren't quite, the Ravens went out to Cincinnati and just stomped them, shut them out. But it was a weird season for Cincinnati because Burrow had the injury.
Yep.
But Ravens-Bengals have been absolute cinema in recent years. I mean, shootouts. And so that is going to be a great game, great for fans. I think the division could come down to Cincinnati that game.
Well, something, again, talking about it just from a pure fan standpoint, as the NFL puts a schedule together, something that they've clearly expanded in recent years are playing on marquee days, holidays, playing on Thanksgiving, Christmas. This is a New Year's Eve game, Thursday Night Football on New Year's Eve. And so you have this big audience that you're going to have on a New Year's Eve stage. And look, this game has all the makings of one of those classics, and having it late in the season adds another wrinkle to it. Like, these two teams have played in primetime games plenty of times. A lot of times it's been earlier in the year, not necessarily, not week 17. It's been a lot earlier in the year most often. And so to have it late in that primetime setting is really exciting. And it kind of goes back to the point that we just were talking about, where it feels like if all the indications are right, if the odds makers are right, that it's going to come down to the Ravens and the Bengals in this division, then that game is going to be massive in deciding who ends up winning this division. And you got two of the best quarterbacks in football, and it's just going to be thrilling to have it in that type of stage, that environment. And hopefully for the Ravens, they ring in the new year with a big win on the road.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's a nice plane ride home.
Yeah, hopefully 2027 starts really nice.
Yes. Now, one other game I want to throw out there in your conversation about Game of the Year. Okay, let's throw this in the Game of the Year sweepstakes. You have Week 10, Monday Night Football in Baltimore, Ravens versus LA Chargers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And you have Jesse Minter going up against Jim Harbaugh, of course, his former boss, and who gave him, his opportunity to be a defensive coordinator in the NFL, and he worked with him at Michigan,
and Michigan, exactly.
And so, and then, whenever the Ravens have played the Chargers in recent years, it's been the Harbaugh versus Harbaugh matchup. Now it's a new wrinkle to that game, but these two teams, playoff expectations, history, connection between the two organizations beyond just Jesse and Jim Harbaugh. You have Joe Ortiz and people on the personnel side. A lot of players that have been here.
Tony Jefferson.
Yeah, there's just like
Keaton Mitchell, Charlie Kohler now.
There's a ton of players. We can go on and on about the number of players out there now. So I think that there's a lot of connectivity between those two. And both teams that have big expectations and could be playoff teams this year.
Right, just two very good teams. And so, that is going to be a really fun one in terms of home game, the best home game on the schedule. That one gets the circle for me.
It's exciting, too, to have back-to-back home primetime games there.
Well, I say that. Closing out the season against Pittsburgh, that's going to be pretty epic also.
We just keep adding to the game of the year.
The Chargers versus the Pittsburgh game, that's tough. The best home game of the year.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I mean, Jacksonville, there's plenty to choose from, so it's definitely exciting.
You always look at primetime games. The Ravens have 4 primetime games plus the Rio game, and is that about what you expected? I could have seen it being more. Certainly, some of those.
I was on the money. I did Final Drive this week, and I said 4 was my prediction.
Plus Rio. Okay, not including Rio. All right, I like it. That's a 4:25 kickoff for Rio, and so I think that's about there. Right, it's certainly more of those AFC North games in late December could be flexed into primetime slots. The finale against Pittsburgh here at M&T certainly could be flexed into prime time. It doesn't even have a time yet, so it could be a primetime game. But the one surprising thing about it is the game against the Ravens and Bills in Buffalo, a 1:00 kickoff. That's probably the biggest surprise on the schedule, is that's not primetime.
If we were going through it before the schedule came out and we had conversations, what are predictions, what's this thing going to look like? I think both of us of course, Ravens Bills is going to be a primetime game.
Exactly.
Like, you just penciled that one.
Slam dunk.
You assume that's going to be the case. So I was surprised by that. I'm sure CBS is very happy to have that as a 1:00 game on CBS. Like, they get that's going to be a massive game for them. And when the Ravens and Bills have played, like, those have been iconic games. We just spent all this time talking about what Ravens and Bengals have been. Same thing for Ravens and Bills. Now, in recent years, it's gone in the Bills' favor, but the Ravens have gotten the better of the Bills at times too. Let's not forget that. Unforgettable primetime game, Sunday Night Football, the Derrick Henry, right out of the gate touchdown. But those are, again, two of the best quarterbacks in football.
Right.
Playoff matchups, big in-season matchups. I just assumed that was going to be a primetime game. To be honest, I kind of like it from a Ravens perspective.
Completely.
Just take a little bit of the emotion out of that game.
Completely.
As a 1:00.
I'd rather play at 1:00 in Buffalo than primetime.
I also would rather play in week 8 than I would in week 15 in the snow.
Right.
I think that from a weather standpoint, I think that is beneficial too, even though both teams have to play in it. I think that playing that earlier is beneficial.
The other beneficial part of it is that the Ravens follow that up with a Thursday night football game against the Jaguars. And so you'd much rather have a 1 o'clock kickoff to Thursday than prime time, and late night in Buffalo, fly back and then have to play on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So that helps a little bit from a rest standpoint.
Yeah, on the primetime front, 2 Thursday night games, that Jacksonville game that you mentioned, then you have the Bengals game late in the season on Thursday night. It's so interesting talking to players about Thursday night games because there's some players don't like it on the front end because it's tough to get ready to play on a Thursday, but on the back end, then you get a mini bye. And it's like looking at that week 17 into 18 game, in some ways, it's kind of like it's going to be tough to turn around and get ready that late in the season for a Thursday night game.
But then you go have to do the same thing.
Of course, the Bengals have to do the same thing, but then you go and you play
Pittsburgh.
the Steelers in the regular season finale coming off a 10 days rest.
Right.
Or 9 if the game ends up being on Saturday, but you have a longer rest period going into that finale, which could end up benefiting the Ravens for that matchup.
Yeah, there are a few little mini buys for the Ravens kind of sprinkled into this. And that is helpful because the Ravens, like we said, have a late bye, week 13, no bye after Rio. So that's a little bit surprising. Oftentimes after an international game, especially with such a long flight like that, you'll have a bye week scheduled after that. I thought that was certainly a possibility. But the late bye for this Jesse Minter team feels like it's gut check. You're going to see the grit of this team because you get into, back-to-back road trips before the bye at Carolina, at Houston. Not easy games. Carolina was in the playoffs last year. Houston was in the playoffs last year, both on the road. And so right before your bye, like this team's going to have gone through the gauntlet before they get to that point. And speaking of the gauntlet, that's where I think the meat of the Ravens schedule is kind of in the middle of the year. You look at Cincinnati at home, who I think is going to be better. That's in the 7th game of the year. Then at Buffalo, Jacksonville, Chargers, at Carolina, at Houston. So we mentioned you don't have a playoff team from last year play one until November. Well, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row right there. And so that's when the schedule gets a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I mean, that is a tough stretch. And you're going to have to, that's where it would be nice if you're able to build up a nice spot in the standings after the first 6 games of the season. But yeah, that's a tough stretch coming out of that. You mentioned the bye, the late bye. It's tough to have a bye that late, but I actually like having it at that point than I would in week 4 coming off of the Rio game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree
that's
with that.
Early to have it so early in the season. Given the 2 options there,
I kind of like in the middle of the season just level it out. But yes, given the 2 options, I agree. I'd rather have it late, especially before you have that AFC North heavy stretch.
Yeah.
Right, you get a break before you go down that stretch. Starts at Tampa Bay and then the 4 straight.
Yeah. So in a perfect world, it's like right down in the middle. Give me week 8. But I think that I do think that there can be some level of a benefit of like get to the bye, get a little bit healthy, get refreshed for this final month of the season, especially given all the things we're talking about for this AFC North stretch. So I like that aspect of it.
I think what's interesting about this year's schedule is you're facing the South divisions. You're facing the AFC South and the NFC South. And it's tough to kind of predict those divisions. They have been 2 of the weaker divisions in the league in recent years. But the South, you don't really know. I mean, the Saints came on strong at the end of the year with Tyler Shook, who took over as a rookie starting quarterback last year. The Falcons can be a really streaky team. You're playing at their place in a primetime game. How tough is that opponent going to be, right? Like, there's a lot of teams that are kind of Carolina, right? Carolina made the playoffs last year. They ended up winning the division. What are they going to look like this year? I think that the South in both conferences is just kind of a difficult, they're both difficult divisions to predict.
Like, look at Indianapolis. Indianapolis last year started great. They were one of the hot teams right out of the gate. Then they faded. Daniel Jones got hurt, and their season kind of went by the wayside.
Right.
But out of the gate,
for the first half of the season, they were considered maybe the best team in football.
Yeah, so like what are they
going to be this year?
The Texans, the Ravens have played them a lot over the years. Texans put it to the Ravens pretty good last year. Now the Ravens had a ton of injuries in that game, as you remember,
including Lamar Jackson.
Of course. That was like, if you look at the injury report from that game, it's insane how many guys missed that.
Yeah, the defense was incredible.
I kind of throw that game out, but these 2 teams have have played a lot of big games in recent years, and that defense is not one to mess with. It's one of the best defenses, and last year probably was one or two of the best defenses in football. So they're going to have a good unit there, and that's a tough assignment to go up against that group.
Right. So I know that when schedules come out, the popular talking point is strength of schedule, and where do you rank among strength of schedule? Well, the Ravens are going to come up looking pretty favorably for that in terms of last year's schedule, and they also look pretty favorable in terms of Vegas and what Vegas is predicting for win totals. They come in 6th in the NFL in Vegas projections, right? So on paper, you look at the schedule, and when I see the dates now announced, I think the Ravens are set up pretty strong here to have a rebound season in 2026 and get back in the playoffs. That's kind of my big picture takeaway from the schedule.
Yeah, honestly, there's nothing on there, maybe closing out the season with 4 straight AFC North games, but there's nothing on there to me that's like, whoa, can't believe that. Like that's like in a way that makes you say like that's going to be too big of a hurdle to climb. Like that rest is way too short. I can't believe
the past 2 years it was like, whoa, that's a tough start. Wow.
Yeah.
That is going to be really. You have an opportunity, of course, to get a lead in the AFC against some of the AFC's best teams, but man, it's going to be a challenge out of the gates. And like we said, both times the Ravens did not meet that challenge, and it proved it really got the season started sideways to a degree.
Yeah, I think that honestly, like for this team, especially with new coaching staff coming in and of course high expectations, just like there are every year, starting the year strong is going to be important. Like going back to that, I just think that has hurt the Ravens. I even go back to last season going into the year where Kyle Hamilton talked about the 24 season. And he was like, we just started poorly and that put us in a hole that was hard to overcome. We need to not do that again. And then they ended up going 1-5 to start the last season. And so when you start with that kind of a deficit, it's just really hard to climb out of that hole. And they are obvious. No team wants to do that. That's always a focus for every single team. But I think for this group in particular, it's going to be critical to start the year strong. And I think
especially when you have a new head coach,
you got a new head coach and like high expectations. And I think for this team and the pieces that they have, and all the reasons that I'm optimistic about this season, I think that they're going to be set up well to really come out of the gate strong.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to do our travel draft.
This is always, the listeners, one of our favorite parts. Welcome back into the lounge. We're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We are breaking down this entire schedule, and one of the things that we do every year, this goes back, loyal listeners of the lounge are always fans of this portion of this episode. This goes back to when we first started working here 15 years ago together. We do the travel draft, breaking down who goes to which games on the road, the annual travel draft. It's always exciting, and we get more emails about the travel draft than we do the actual schedule.
That's correct.
So, once we're done here, make sure you send us your emails to the lounge at ravens.nfl.net. Let us know who you think won the travel draft. We always decide who gets first pick based on rock, paper, scissors.
Snake draft.
Snake draft. Rock, paper, scissors decides first overall pick. Right. So without any further ado, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh my gosh, it continues. All right, I guess I'm going to Rio. I'm going to be hanging out with Christ the Redeemer. It's going to be awesome. Oh my gosh.
I will say that I think I'm like lost the last 8 rock, paper, scissors matchups. I've gotten so bad at rock, paper, scissors.
You're so stuck with rock. I knew it.
Once it was a stalemate on the first go round, I folded. I didn't know what to do. I just throw out scissors. Oh man,
Rio baby. Oh, here we
and
go.
I will say
first ever game in Rio. Historic game against the Cowboys. Great matchup.
Long flight.
It's just gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be doing some salsa. I'm gonna be out. Look, I'm having a great time.
I'll give you credit. There was a clear one at the top of the schedule draft this year in Rio, and so you get that one.
I got this locked up already.
But let's just move on here. We're gonna move on, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take we talk about games of the year. There's lots of different options here for game of the year.
Okay.
I think this one could end up being it. we didn't even necessarily mention it, but I'm going to Buffalo. I'm seeing the Ravens in week 2. Buffalo.
Oh, Daddy's not coming to Halloween, kids. He ain't trick-or-treating this year. Sorry.
Well, the game's on the 1st, but
yeah. Well, we're going to travel the day before.
Yeah, but
we don't go up at 7 a.m. I don't know if you know this, but we travel the day before the game.
We do Halloween trick-or-treat at 7 a.m. in my house. So we'll get that out of the way. We'll get that out of the way early. Go out,
you
dress
love
up.
Disappointing your kids,
and it's gonna be great because Buffalo. I mean, that's gonna be one of the best games. We just talked about it. This is one of the marquee matchups in the entire league. New stadium. It's exciting. So you're going for the glitz and the glamour and the travel experience. Which, hey, look, I get it. It's gonna be great
game.
But I'm also seeing one of the best games, and this is all about AFC
and
football.
You miss Halloween for your children. Just a bad dad move. It's just a bad dad move. I'm gonna go to Cincy. My game of the year. Didn't think I'd get 1 and 2 on my board. I mean, the whole division might come down to that game. It's going to be a massive game. It's one of the biggest games on the schedule. You talk about pure football games. That's going to be an epic scene.
I mean, missing New Year's Eve. Dude, the family.
Here's the thing. Kids are asleep. See, I'm a good dad. Okay? Kids are asleep anyway. They're not staying up that late. Plus, you should know this, being a father of young children, I barely even make it. New Year's Eve, as the father of 2 young children, it doesn't even matter, right? If I was in my 20s, right, no kids, yeah, I would care about that. New Year's Eve has no significance to me anymore.
You're gonna be bringing in the new year, running around getting quotes in the locker room after the game.
Yeah, after a win,
which is
it'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'll
be great.
It'll be great.
Hey, I might have one of those hats, the noise maker in the locker room. I'm gonna be celebrating in the locker room with the guys. 2020, we're gonna have the glasses on. 2027 glasses, and you're gonna be sitting at home.
I'll be excited too.
Sleep next to you. You're like, I gotta flip to watch the ball drop now. I guess. Yeah, New Year's Eve stinks. Most overrated holiday on the calendar. So I'll take it.
All right. Enough of that. My next pick here, I'm going to Atlanta. I'm getting a chance to go to Atlanta. Why are you laughing? This is a huge game.
You're crying.
This is a huge game.
With laughter.
I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you, not with you. The Ravens, I'm taking this game against the Falcons. One of the great city. We don't get there all that often. Primetime game against the Falcons. Great stadium. This is a huge game. We're talking about you won the
Why are you so bad at this?
We were talking about this all week. Falcons game, that's one I want to get to. I want to see that stadium. I want to go there. You are all about it. Now you're acting like now we're on the podcast. And you're like, I never wanted to go there.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You were all about it an hour ago.
The argument, the argument for Atlanta is you have a little longer afternoon in Atlanta.
It's a great city.
You get back middle of the night. That's 3 a.m. for Atlanta.
What are you're getting back? What time are you getting back from Rio? What time are you getting back from Cincinnati?
Yeah, that's fun.
Don't make the argument.
Big game, Cincinnati.
Don't make the argument on what time you're getting back if you're getting back late on every one of your trips so far.
That's an international trip. And it's the game of the year. No, I'm not spending a night game travel on Atlanta.
All right. You're going to miss out.
You're so bad at this.
You're going to miss out.
You're so bad at this. I'm taking at Indy, season opener, Jesse Minter's first game. It's a historic game. It's a game you always remember. It's the beginning of the era. It's the season. The season opener already has juice. It's already an exciting game on the schedule, right? Then it's the first game for Jesse Minter. Oh, again, in the locker room, Jesse. I might dump the Gatorade on him. I might be in on the Gatorade dump with Jesse.
The week 1 Gatorade.
Yes! First win as a head coach. It's a historic game. That one's going to be in all the historical, documentaries about Ravens team history. Jesse Minter in Indianapolis. Garrett Downing decided not to go, but Ryan Mink was there to high five Jesse Minter after his first career victory as head coach.
You should audition for the next voice of the NFL.
I got my top 3. I seriously got my top 3.
Your top 3 were Rio,
at Cincy, at Indy. In that order.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with that list. I don't agree with that list.
God, I'm crushing
All right, here we go. Next one. I'm going to Carolina.
You are so bad.
Again, I'm knocking off cities I don't get to see. Don't get to go to Atlanta. Don't get to go to Carolina. Charlotte's a great city.
You've gone to Carolina so many times in your life, North Carolina.
Yeah, but this is an opportunity to go there. Never been to that stadium. Go to that stadium. Great city. Again, this is all about taking the entirety of the game into consideration. The city, all of it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay. This year's travel draft is not high on destinations. Okay. It's not a sexy destinations travel draft.
You're changing your argument.
No. Rio, obviously, right? Thus, you take the best games with the most significance.
Which is why I took Buffalo. Which is why I took. You're making my argument for me.
Your strategy is so
Buffalo.
Bad. Buffalo, you took it too high, but I agree it's a good game at least. But you missed Halloween. You also have to factor in personal.
Yeah, Halloween. You're making an argument about Halloween.
Yes,
what are we doing here?
Yeah, you go tell your children that. Go tell your children that when they're saying,
the morning.
"Daddy, where's Daddy? Where's Daddy?" Right? I'm going to Pittsburgh. At Pittsburgh.
How many times?
Always a huge game.
Always big. Yeah, it's big.
Late in the season, December, Pittsburgh, big game, lock the gates, bus crowing across the bridge. It's just always a big, great game. Sure. I'm going to Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Because it's way better than going to Carolina.
Is it?
Yes.
It's the game is always fun. Except if it, last year wasn't so much fun. But
thanks for bringing it up.
but look, it's a good atmosphere. It's a good atmosphere. But been there, done that. Been there, done that.
Game. It's a revenge game.
Well,
added storylines.
Sure. All right, my next pick here. I'm gonna go another huge game. You want to talk about great games? This is a massive game for this team. Houston. I'm going to Houston. This is a huge game, and I get it late. Big game. 2 potential playoff teams battling it out. Yeah, I'll take that game.
It's a fine pick.
It's a good pick. You want to talk?
I had it below my next pick, which is at Cleveland, another AFC North foe. Week 6,
Have you been
right?
there?
The problem with going to Cleveland, you don't want to go to Cleveland in December. That's just miserable. You don't want to do that. Week 6, we're talking October. It's nice and warm. It's gonna be. That is the perfect time to go to Cleveland.
I used to live in Cleveland. It's not nice and warm.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's not frigid like it is in December.
It's nice. A Week 6 Cleveland game for a late round pick here. That's a nice pick.
So then one game left, right? And that would be me closing it out. Minnesota, sleeper pick. I get the preseason
game.
Yeah, of course, it's the last pick. It's not game-wise the stakes of the game, but Minnesota, nice place to see at that time of the year in August. This is a great trip. So, and I get at my last pick. I had it much higher than that. Much higher.
No,
much
higher
than
let
that.
me say.
But I couldn't take it above the other players on my board, so I got it late as my last pick. I didn't even have a choice.
My bottom three were Houston, Carolina, Minnesota, all of which you got.
Yeah, but you just don't know how to build out the right board. So your board isn't what me. I'll give you Rio. That was a good pick.
I crushed you again. All right, let's give it that. Let's give the full rundown. All right, I have Rio against Dallas. At Cincinnati, game of the year. At Indy, Jesse Minter's first game as head coach, historic game. At Pittsburgh, at Cleveland, 2 AFC North foes. Oh, I got all the AFC North games.
Yeah.
In a year when we reclaim the division.
And I got
You're gonna miss
Buffalo, massive revenge game. Go out there, get the win. Atlanta, primetime game, great atmosphere. Then I've got Carolina, place you don't get to see, big win there. Then I got Houston and Minnesota. So I feel great about my schedule
you
here.
Don't.
I feel great about the schedule.
I
feel great about the schedule.
I'll give you 15 years. I know when you're lying.
I'll give you the Rio game. That was the obvious number 1 overall pick. You won rock, paper, scissors, so I'll give you that. That's the one win that you get. That's the one win that you get.
I won this. All right. Anyway, email us, thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. This is an easy call here. And thank you for joining us as always. We will be back with you early next week.